One. So this evening I'm joined by Amber. I won't try to pronounce your name, surname Amber.
Okay.
I'm sure you can do that a lot better than I can do. But the focus of this short video is about the Property Development Summit. And depending when you're listening to it, apologies, tickets may be already sold out. There is potentially an opportunity for an audio download at some point. Nonetheless, I just want to focus on the particular event. As I say, it's coming up on Saturday, the 28th of January. So this video is being recorded 7 days before the event. You may be listening to it a few days before the event or after the event. And if you're listening to the video after the event, I would suggest that you have a look at my other networking events. I run networking meets in London, both central London, morning and evening, and also in Wandsworth. Now, just to focus on, and huge thanks for you joining me, Amber, this evening. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good to talk to you.
And huge thanks to the listeners, whenever you've joined me. So just focusing on the upcoming event. And I'm just going to have a quick look at, I've got the calendar or the agenda on my phone. So we start off in the morning at 9:30. Nice and sharp. It's in the Holiday Inn Camden Lock, by the way, so it's easy to get to. So whether you're coming into town by tube or National Rail, it's only a few minutes on the Northern Line from King's Cross, so that's the nearest mainline station. So my co-host for the meet will be Nicholas Marshall. And Nicholas is a developer. He's worked on a number of investments and deals over his 20 plus years investing experience, including a development in Caterham, Surrey, mixed-use development of 17 units. So Nicholas is just going to give a brief welcome, just the regular things like ensure that you connect with people, at the meet. But we also do have a structured networking session as well. And I'll go through that in just a moment. So just a few minutes by Nicholas. Welcome you to the morning. Then we're going to go straight over to Paul Higgs, who's a noted developer, 30 plus years in the industry, teaches at South Bank University on advanced valuations. What Paul doesn't know about planning, well, very few people would know anything more than Paul.
Yeah.
He worked for some of the largest developers and an award-winning developer with the Evening Standard, Best New Homes. So that's the early part of the day. Then we move on to Paul Higgs. Then we move on to Tim Hodges, I should say, from the Vincent Group, who sourced over 100 plus deals. Tim's going to look at the online, offline ways of sourcing. And then we're going to go into the structured networking. So there's already about 90 plus registered for the event, the last few seats at the moment. And one of the things which I'm keen on people doing is, yes, swapping business cards. I know some events you're not allowed to. Please do from the moment you enter the room, possibly even before you get into the room. Maybe it's worth catching up with people for breakfast beforehand, possibly.
Yeah,
But, I would strongly suggest bringing cards. I know not everyone's into cards. I personally think it's a great idea. I personally think if you have cards, it's useful to do the John Corrie method, which is having your photo on the card. But it's really up to you. But there's going to be a structured networking session to get the most out of the meet, because there's a number of different professions in the room. Yes, there's a number of professions speaking as well, such as architects, but there's at least 3 or 4 architects in the room who aren't even speaking that particular day. And that's just an example of who's in the room. As I say, you've got a huge wealth of knowledge outside of those who speak. And I had a conversation last night with Ranjit. He said, you're running 2 events, because he looked at the attendee list and he thought, wow, no, I'm not running 2 events that day. But it's a good point. Look, you got the likes of Richard Bowser, Angela Bryan, Aaron Yahara, and Luke Hamill. And it goes on and on. Now, Luke is involved in a small way, and there's other people who are a bit under the radar. So if I mention their name, it won't mean much to you, but they have attended some of my meets, good friends with Paul Higgs, 30 plus years of investing stroke development experience as well. And that's just a number of the people who I know. And there's quite a lot of people who I don't know who are coming as well. What I have suggested beforehand, if you are coming, reach out to my key connectors, Luke Hamill and Anna Harper. Both of them can be connected via social media, Facebook, Twitter, for Luke as well. Luke's on at Be Lucky too. Maybe introduce yourself. So Anna's got a bit of a head start of who's in a room. You can connect with me. I have to admit my focus is more on the event rather than the network. And that's why I've put 2 dedicated people into that event for you to get the maximum amount for the networking. So that's a networking session. Then we're going to have a networking break. And then we're going to move over to the session, which for some people is the most exciting bit, which is focusing on new technology. The likes of Gavro Mercado, who looks at metrics, over 170 different metrics his software uses, which is called Realize. You've got Johnny Britton, who's focused more on the sourcing side. And you've also got Urban Intelligence. And their focus is more on the planning portal, being a portal, I would say. So that's the session up to, and I said it would just take a few minutes, Amber. I'm just going to briefly spill over. So that's going into about 12:50 in the afternoon. We take the networking break. Be flexible. These times are subject to slight changes. Speakers always subject to changes as well, and panelists. But in fact, I had to change the venue because it was too small. The previous venue, the Holiday in Camden, was not the original venue. It was the Alm at Wandsworth, which I love, but it was just sadly too small for that particular. Well, I'm quite happy it's too small in a way as well, but the demand is much higher than what I initially expected. Now we're going to have a break, a networking break or lunch break. More accurately, it's time for you to have lunch. Grab a bite to eat. There's plenty of restaurants nearby, including the likes of Wagamama. And then we're going to go into the session with a nominated architect, James Monroe. Then we've got the property panel, the second panel, and that's focused on raising funds, looking at the advantages, disadvantages of joint ventures versus crowdfunding, with the likes of Nicole Bremner on the panel, who's raised over 2 million in the space of about 3 weeks through the platform Simple Equity, who will also be on that particular platform or particular panel that afternoon. So as I say, Nicole Bremner's raised a significant amount of money. She will be speaking late in the afternoon as well. But just to let you know, before Nicole speaks, and before Kevin Edge speaks, to be just another short networking break, just a few minutes. Then we go into Kevin Edge's presentation, focus on the deal which became or made him the property deal of the year 2016. And there's some significant people who were on that judging panel, the likes of Shawbrook, Essential Information Group, and also Richard Powell of Property Investor News Magazine. And then we're going to move over to Nicole's presentation. And Nicole's presentation is focused on how she's used social media to fund and find deals, including likes of Snapchat. And then it's just going to be a short summary from Nicholas Marshall. So that's some of the key things. But first of all, what have I missed out? I've mentioned about if you want to book, just click on or go to Property Success 2017.eventbrite.com. So it's Property Success 2017.eventbrite.com. What? And that's on Saturday, 28th of January. Amber, what have I missed? Because I'm just thinking of giving the listeners as much information, but you're there, you're hearing. What gets you inspired or motivated? Who are you particularly keen to hear?
Well, starting from the top, I mean, from Paul Higgs, it's quite important to listen to that one because it's an opportunity to be able to start sourcing land and finding deals without having a lot of upfront money. So, when I was on his one-day course, we learned all about how you find them, where they are, and later on how you sort of tie them up with options and put planning on them. And I don't know how much of all that he can cover in 40 minutes, but I think it's going to be a really good insight into people who are getting started in land, who don't have a lot of money. It'd be a very good one to start with. Of course, Nicole Kidman's going to be Nicole Bremner. Nicole Bremner should be really, really good because it's uniquely quite hard to find somebody that doing a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of deals. They've got a deal flow. They've got great architects. They've got a great system going for how they develop properties. But also, she's very, very generous on sharing as well. In fact, there's been cases where she's gone to crowdfunding, not because she needed the money, because so many people asked her how could they get involved in her deals. So I think that's going to be the one to watch for the day, really. It's going to be really to learn from Nicole, sit as close as you can to the front and really make a load of notes on that. Don't rely on any audio download that may or may not happen. Just get as much as you can out of those moments, I think. You know, she's going to be around. She doesn't do a lot of networking. She shows up to all the ones that she speaks on, but she doesn't over-network as such. It's not, you know, you won't find her at every event. So you've got an opportunity to ask her questions afterwards. So that's two that speak. Now the chap who's talking about deals and deal sourcing.
Sure, Kevin Edge.
Kevin Edge, yeah, that should be a good one again for people who, I mean, you know, I meet a lot of people that have got money and they haven't got any deals. So if you can go out and find deals and connect with some of these guys, you can learn, get involved, and get paid at the same time.
Amber, one thing which I didn't say about, and I don't want to keep you on the line too long, but it's a good point about Kevin Edge. I didn't really focus too much on the deal there. I just briefly skimmed over it. Kevin's deal was a commercial to resi conversion. It was a gymnasium in St. Albans, converted into, I think it's 4 flats. And that's what won him the deal of the year. Sorry to interrupt.
Right, and it was probably also about how he did it, how he structured it, how he financed it. I mean, a lot of the panels look for what barriers did you overcome? You know, what's the story behind it, which is always really good.
Sure, we are going to look at some of those aspects, the financial aspects from Kevin, the GDV, what cost beginners wouldn't expect as well when doing deals.
Tell me about the panel. I know you've got John Corey on the panel. Who else have you got?
So I've got John Corey's doing the PropTech panel. You've got the likes. You've got the likes of Gavro Mercado from Realize. You've got Johnny Britton from Land Technologies or Land Insight, and you've also got Urban Intelligence, Daniel Mohammed. So that's the one panel. The second panel, we've got the likes of Tor Podtes, we've got who's from Crowd With Us. You've got Simple Equity, Davin Ponwasi. You've got Andrew Featherstone, who's done things a little bit different. I would say more conventional joint ventures, but his speciality or his contribution is that he mostly focuses, 1, on listed buildings, 2, outside of London, around the Devon area, so southwest, so quite far. Whereas and Tim Hodges is back on the panel as well.
I mean, I think the PropTech one is really important because I think no matter which industry we're looking at now, it always comes back to how technology is changing things, changing the way we work, changing where we work. You know, I'm not suggesting you can replace hard work with tech, but you can make sharing with teams so much easier. And I know that John Corey used to work for Next, which was owned by Steve Jobs. So he's so passionate about technology and loves how it works, and he's always sort of getting on the cutting edge of the latest apps and things like that. So I think that's going to be. What time is that? Is the PropTech Q&A? Sure.
So that's from about 12. I've got it 12:10 to 12:50. Things are subject to slight changes, but that's
right. So that's just before lunch then.
Yeah, that's just before lunch.
That should be a good one because really you'll finish on a high there. It's always an exciting topic. And then there's lunch. Would you sort of encourage people to go off for lunch with the people they already know, or maybe grab hold of people they don't know?
Well, I'd always suggest, connect with people who you may not necessarily know.
Yeah.
Now, some people are talking about this event on social media. So, for example, one way to know a little bit about the event is to follow me on Facebook, Brendan J. Quinn. You can also connect with me at Brendan_Quinn UK as well. And some of the, so, maybe connect with some of those who are online, like Nicole Bremner. And as I say, the key people I would say to connect with on the day, apart from the speakers, are Anna Harper and Luke Hamill, who are facilitating the networking, and they're
Right. Okay.
part of their responsibility is to know who's in the room. So
Right.
it's a good idea to connect with Luke Hamill at Be
Yeah.
Lucky Too. You can find Luke, and Anna
Yeah.
Harper's more on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. That should be good. No, that'd be really good. So yes, it's going to be one worth sort of not having too late a night on the Friday night. Yeah, Friday 27th. Just maybe get to bed before midnight if you can. And as you said, connect with these people and say to them, look, I'm going to this event. Do you want to meet 20 minutes before? Do you want to meet half an hour before? Because then you can tick one of the boxes that you had a coffee with somebody. If you have a coffee before and a coffee after, or you meet in the bar after or something, you've networked with 3 people along, more than half an hour, which is great.
Sure. I know Nicole is planning on doing something in the evening. I don't quite know what she's got going on, but she said there's going to be some networking going on in the evening, so do leave some time for the evening as well.
Oh, right, okay. Did Nicole say that, or Anna Harper?
Yeah, no, Nicole.
Okay, good.
So, Amber, I'm going to close it there. It's been a really useful session to have you join me, and you're going to be here on the day as well.
Yeah.
One of those who will be helping me. I know.
Yeah.
Property Investor News magazine, Fiona and Ranjit, who represent that magazine, they're going to be helping me on the day as well. They've already helped me, to be fair. I do thank those who've already given social shares. It does make a difference, because my remit within Facebook is roughly about, they say, 50 people. So, huge thanks to you, those of you who've done social shares or likes. Amber, I'm going to close there. Huge thanks for joining me. As I say, the date is Saturday, 28th of January, Property Development Summit, and that's it for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you.